Okay, well, we're now back in the warmth of this New York, New Jersey waterway station in Jersey City. The lobby's quite cavernous, and it's also beautiful. And um, back to the seriousness of the topic. I know people are going to be put off by it, but you cannot. We can never get to a solution if we never talk about our problems. People tend to share their beautiful pictures, fun pictures, and you know. But what does it do? Does it any change anything? A lot of people are suffering these days, and somehow people think that they should share their beautiful and fun pictures to entertain others, or I don't know, maybe they're just bragging. But that's how it comes out to that they would be bragging about where they've been to or the fun times they've had when a lot of people are suffering. So we need to face reality because reality actually tells us that the world is not an easy place to live in. And so back to HIV and AIDS, and AIDS being a fallacy or a hoax. I've been traumatized by it because I've experienced it firsthand. That uh, when you are subjected to discrimination and you are being shunned because they think that you have a disease that's caused by promiscuousness or drug use, then and also because they think that they have something over you, and people are actually uh, uh, revel in the idea that they're better than you, and they use it to discriminate against you, to make themselves feel better. In fact, that is the truth. They will deny that that is so, but they perpetrate the lie because they think that they have an advantage over those that are discriminated against. And whatever the situation or station you are in life, you had episodes or experiences where you are in fact or you have in fact been discriminated against. And this situation has caused me a lot of pain and suffering. And because of the pain and suffering that I've been through, then I've decided that enough is enough. Um, I'm done with my novel, and so I'm sharing it with the world. And so, with the publication of the Dogon Door as an ebook on Kindle, then I can move on with my life and talk about this thing called AIDS and being HIV positive, and to clarify to the world that it is criminal. It is. I don't think it is some. I wouldn't use the word negligence because negligent is not the word that the American mass media and world media press the written and the written word and the networks have never bothered to do their research. And if they do know the truth about AIDS being a hoax, then they've chosen very intentionally to perpetrate or perpetuate that lie. And so, because of this personal experience, I'm open to. I've been more open to the idea that maybe there are other lies out there. And so that's why I've looked into 9/11, and I've realized that those buildings did not go down because of airplanes or that crashed into them. Those planes were holograms or holographic, and I believe that they are holographic because you will have to listen to YouTube videos where airline pilots or veteran airline pilots have mentioned and are very sure in their opinion that in fact the Airline Pilots Association of America have come up or have a professional statement about in reference to this, that whatever these airline pilots or um, or hijackers did in um, in crashing the plane onto the Twin Towers was virtually impossible because at that altitude, they say that the steering wheel of the plane would be impossible to hold on to because it would be shaking so violently that they would have lost control of the plane um, at that speed and at that altitude or height from the ground. So that maneuver, or the two maneuvers they did to hit the Twin Towers, was virtually impossible. Then you couple that with the fact that as the buildings were crumbling, they were actually crumbling into dust. They were actually destroyed using nanotechnology or nano bombs, which nano atomic bombs, which scientists have figured they use to obliterate the structure, the very structure of the twin towers. Those twin towers, if you've been inside to those twin towers, they were very massive. It's not like one of those flimsy buildings that you see in Hong Kong. If you've been to Hong Kong, you will see they have those tall buildings, but the buildings are really skinny. And but a lot of the buildings here in New York City are very, really, not only are they tall, but they are also massive. They have more square footage, for per floor, because they're really thick and wide, generally speaking. That's why they attain the height that they have. Anyway, so when people don't realize it, and I never realized it until I watched the YouTube videos, that those the buildings actually came down and were crumbling into dust. And Peter Jennings actually said it on air that what happened to the rubble? Why didn't the Twin Towers have more rubble than it had when it finally came down? It seemed like it had crumbled into dust. And you will see as you will see footage of the Twin Towers as they uh, crumbled into dust, that the dust was tremendous. Produced the though that dust that was produced by the controlled demolition, because controlled demolition experts have said that the way the buildings came down, it was a controlled demolition, um, and not a. It wasn't caused by two planes hitting those towers, and even